Hello everyone, this is Hala Muqaddasi and I am a PhD student in architecture at Texas A&M University. Today I'm going to talk about what it takes to become a net zero development. This is a case study of Serenbe in Georgia. The research outline that we go through it together with world population increase and CO2 emission increase, we will impact negatively on climate change and the environment. Based on United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, we are responsible for our cities, especially goal number 11, that address sustainable cities and communities by 2030. So, therefore, the research aims is to create a net zero community development and to provide planner, architects, and engineers with a comprehensive set of net zero energy indicators that are applicable to residential development. Also, we want to provide developers a set of guidelines to study and evaluate the energy use practices in their community and to understand how to make their community net zero. Here's the research hypothesis. The research assumes if we can make a balance between power production and energy use in building and transportation, then we can make a community to become net zero. To do that, the objectives will be to reduce the broad concept of net zero community to more manageable energy use regarding power, building, transportation, which we call it PBT from now, to identify main energy indicators regarding community scale, on-site energy production, and energy use in building and in-place transportation based on our precedent studies. And then we want to develop a model, which is a set of energy indicators to create the PBT balance and apply our model to our case study, which is Serenbe here, and define the specific PBT energy indicators that Serenbe can apply in order to be net zero. And eventually, we will make our model transferable to other community contexts in the US. Starting with Serenbe, as you can see, this is a master plan of Serenbe designed and drawn with Dr. Philip Tapp. Um, Dr. Philip Tapp was the designer, founder and developer of this community is Steve Nygren and Maria Nygren. And the name of Serenbe came from Maria Nygren when she was asking this question that what does a farm around here want to be? And from that, she came up with the name Serenbe, which is coming from serenity and being. As you can see here in the map, Serenbe is located in Georgia, Atlanta, and it's 20 minutes drive from Atlanta Airport. And it was planned in 2001 and the construction began in 2004. Serenbe achieved multiple awards, including inaugural ULI Sustainable Award from Urban Land Institute in 2008 that shows Serenbe is an example of sustainable residential development. And it represents land preservation, active living, agrarian urbanism, connectivity and walkability, mixed use development, green architecture, and health and wellness. The size of this community is 1,200 acres and is mostly hills and forests and pastures. Number of accommodations is designed for an ultimate 1,800 dwellings, but right now, currently there are around 400 dwelling units. The population in 2020 are 850 residents. The density after it has its ultimate 1,800 dwellings will be 5 dwelling unit per acre, but right now residential net densities vary from 2.5 dwelling per acre to 20 dwellings per acre based on the different housing typology. The design for Serenbe was inspired by characteristic of English villages and serene urbanism, which utilize both natural landscape and urban amenities that Dr. Tapp explained in his book. Um, You see here, this Serenbe has 5 hamlets, and these hamlets have buildings from different type of residential building and mixes of use. The hamlets were designed and constructed in different phase and to avoid different activities. We start with the first phase, which was Selborne Hamlet, and the small one here that is Crossroads. We put it together, and it planned for 125 dwellings in 25 4 acres, as it shows in the circle, designed with Dr. Tapp. It is orientated toward arts, and the mixes of use is art gallery, three restaurants, shops, wine store, yoga studio. And here is the original master plan, and here is the picture from Google Map that you see the constructed building. The second phase will be Grange Hamlet and Serenbe Farm, and is orientated toward agriculture. As you can see in the picture that from Google Map, you can see that there is a 25-acre farm, and the community hall, a general store, bookstore, shops, Montessori elementary school. Um, the third phase will be Meadow Hamlet that is orientated toward health and wellness, and the mixes of use will be hotel, community swimming pool, daycare, spa, restaurants, and as you see, it's still under construction. The pictures are in the courtesy of Serenbe community. The first one will be Stella Hamlet that is orientated toward family outdoor activities, and it's in starting the constructions in the initial phase, and there will be a park 400 to 400 in the heart of this hamlet, and there will be tree house and zip line. The fifth one and will be the education hamlet, which is right now in planning design phase. It's oriented toward education. There will be Carter School, education hotel, a small grocery, conference center, international boarding restaurants, and corporate offices. So there are different type of net zero definition regarding building and communities. After doing a lot of literature review, this is the net zero definition that we define for Serenbe. The total amount of energy used in the Serenbe community on an annual basis to be equal to the amount of on-site renewable energy supply. Based on Steve Nygren, the developer, the first step to make Serenbe more energy self-sufficient is to reduce the demand and then produce based on renewable sources. The main energy indicators and principles of Serenbe urbanism that was applied in Serenbe by the design by the urban master planner was land preservation, where 70% of the open space were considered and only 30% of the land was developed. And integrated agriculture, that initial farm was on 25 acre, that producing more than 300 varieties of vegetable, flowers, farm to table restaurant. And there is a certain farmer market, that a weekly farmer market that, as you can see in the picture, they sell products. Diversity of mixes of use. There are many types of community services in different hamlets, as we discussed, including office, retail, health and wellness, beauty salon, gas station, and so forth. Housing diversity, as you can see in the picture, there are different types of housing services: single family, a townhouse, a state house, condo, assisted living, energy efficient building practice. So all buildings in Serenbe are certified with AirScrap, which is a green building program that assure the energy performance of the building, and it's mainly optimized insulation and significantly reduced energy demand. And the other factor is geothermal heating and cooling that recently also became mandatory for the new construction. And it significantly reduces the electricity energy use between 40 to 70%, and also it reduces HVAC energy cost by up to 50%. Use of on-site resources, use of renewable energy, fresh air, clean water, local building material. The local building material here is mostly wood, plant-based fibers, brick, stone, iron, and slate. The PV, in Serenbe, when they reduce the energy demand by 65%, PV can provide the rest of the energy use. And there are buildings with between 4 to 9 kilowatt array, PV array on the roof, and there are monitoring queues for visitors that homeowners to to see and control their energy production in real time. Accessibility and network. Each hamlet has several automobile access and accessibility, such as trails, sidewalks, and different paths you can see. And also it is designed by the master planner to alternative alternative modes that are encouraging biking, pedestrian network, and electric cars. There are also other type of energy demand reduction strategies that were applied in Serenbe master planning, such as building favorable building orientation, passive solar heating, battery storage, stormwater management, and recycling, composting, and many more. The methodology in this research will be first running literature review on some precedent cases around the world, and literature review on the different type of net zero community definition, and to extrapolate main energy indicators and categorize them into PPT. These are the precedent cases that we consider for this research, and I'm working on it. In my previous video, I explained about this too, and I will send about the rest when my research is complete. So as of now, these are the main energy indicators that I extrapolated from my literature review, and they're categorized in three: power, building, and transportation. And the next phase will be analyzing Selborne Hamlet. In Serenbe, we first start with Selborne Hamlet to analyze, because Selborne is more than 90% completed. As you can see right now, they have 205 out of 125 buildings constructed, and some buildings have geothermal and PV. That is a good case for our energy analysis. There is available space for potential solar farm if it's required. Also, the hamlet is compact, and it has a lot of mixed up use in it. Also, the hamlet is designed based on 1 mile diameter, which is very encouraging for pedestrian movement. So in Selborne, we consider a typical house that's based on the typical house size in Serenbe is around 2,600, and this is close enough, and it has 12 solar panels with 4.7 kilowatt production. On the roof, it has geothermal heating and cooling system. It has 3 zones and 2 floors, and the basement. It uses natural gas for water heating, water heater, and electricity. So we did a quick analysis that it shows in 2020, so the energy use and the energy generation. We need to do more detailed energy analysis on this building, that we use Energy Plus to do the simulation. And when we have the data, then we need to make a larger scale type assessment with analyzing data to find peak loads and average loads to estimate the total energy use and PV energy generation in building sectors in Selborne. Another thing is transportation data, that we need to run a survey to the residents and to see what's the typical car in Serenbe and how many mileage do they drive to the border, and their gas mileage, and the critical non-residential land use, and the amount of the energy used by electric car. So after running all the analyses, we need to come up with a model that which type of energy indicators specifically make Serenbe net zero. For example, here for the power production, we recommend the using of solar farm for the whole community, and using micro municipal solid waste for community backup for the times that it's rainy or we don't have a good solar access. For building side, we recommend having solar PV 5K, around 5K solar PV on roof, but we can't make it mandatory because of we don't want to have a design limitation. But for some of the buildings that are solar ready, we can suggest that. Also, all the buildings are scrap certified. For transportation, we recommend adding more critical mixes of use that with clustering of end use, and also like densification. The result and conclusion. The result from this research presents a set of planning measures that are necessary to achieve net zero community, incorporating a community with renewable energy power source and renewable infrastructure systems, promoting smaller sized buildings with improved construction standards, retrofitting existing homes with standalone PV systems, providing a potential solar field for each hamlet based on its energy use and energy demand, adding more critical mixes of use to reduce between-place transportation, reinforcing in-place transportation network modes and vehicle grid connections, excluding gasoline-powered vehicles, and providing remote parking lots. The future work will be running energy analysis on transportation sector, also expanding the model and net zero measures to other hamlets in Serenbe, and also to other community contexts. Thank you, thank you so much for listening to for watching this video. Here is my email. If you have any question or concern, please reach out to me. Thank you.